because
Cleave.
it's called a cleave. And I can always remember because you think of cleavage. You know. But these are very fresh willows. So we might, you make a tea in the end, and the Germans bend it over and crack it, but I couldn't do it the way they did it. And it was quite tricky to do it their way. And this way, this is so fresh. Now, where's the cleave?
Now,
I am filming
oh, are you?
the
Here.
cleaving,
I'm
the
bringing
cleavage. Oops,
And
sorry.
the cleavage of the. Maybe I should be getting mine too.
Oh, get this one together.
Now, did you get the cleave in Sweden?
No, I got the cleave in England. It's an English tool. I don't know any other country that. Germany, I would have it.
We told that we were taking him out of the chair so that he could have a more comfortable sleep.
And
And
he's
now we've
still
got him
sitting
sitting up.
I know, I went and
Thank-
said, would you like me to lie you down? But he was fast asleep and he didn't say anything. So I just left him.
Are you peeling it now?
Well, I'm making a tea, and the Germans do it. We can try both this way. The English people do it this way. And you have to make, and I don't know if I've got this, because I wanted to make 3 divisions in the end.
Okay.
And I've got one very nicely here.
Now say that again.
Well, you make 3 divisions, but don't take a picture till I've got it. I'm having trouble to get this one. No, silly. Don't hold your breath, because this is very, very fresh, this stuff. Whether it's going to work. There we are. So you divide it, you make a little T, and then you just push the cleave down.
Hold it.
And can you see how it's making 3?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
But now they're not even. I mean, they're not the same. Does that matter?
Well, I think it's because we've got a very thin, new willow.
Mm.
I mean, you wouldn't normally do this. Normally you would do this when the sap is rising in the spring. And don't forget, this has only been growing since...
So you do it when the sap is rising, not in the fall.
No. I don't know whether you can do it in the fall. I wouldn't like to be sure, but I know you do it in the spring.
So this cleave is an interesting...
And they're made with, this is mine, love. This is my cleave.
Yes.
This is made of yew, old-fashioned yew that they used to plant in the...
We had yew bushes.
You see, it's getting very thin now. If I had a big thick willow, it would go shooting right up to the end.
Mm-hmm.
This is so skinny because it's so. You can do it. You can do 2 easily, but this is to do 3. And then when I think I've got to the end, 'cause I don't think I can make it anymore. And then what you would normally do is you would get your knife, and you would take the sharp little bit on the inside. And you use this for scanning and for doing various things. And you'll just put it on your knife like this, and you'll just take the sharp bit off the end. So I'm
The
making
point.
it the little angle,
Mm-hmm.
and you would just sharpen it off like that, so that it would be smooth. See, so you've got a flat piece rather than a piece with a.
Mm-hmm. And then how would you use this compared
It's
to...
very useful for binding if you want to wrap things.
Okay.
It becomes more like flat reed.
Right.
You know.
So like this. Is this made with something?
Oh no, that's
from-
made with that's the root of a birch, and it may have been split.
Birch root.
Birch root, yes.
I never used birch root yet.
Now, birch roots are quite nice, and you can play with them. It's a tradition in Sweden. But the other thing, of course, you can do with this, it's more economical to make 3 because you get 3 instead of 2. But of course, you can just as easily do it with your fingers. And you can just pull it apart. And so this is how you get 2. I don't know if I've got it. It's so much easier to do when you've got a big one. I mean, these are such little skinny things that it's It's a bit like doing cedar. And then you pull on the... I've got a much stiffer side, so I'm really pulling on the stiff side now, see?
Mm-hmm.
If I pulled on the thin side, it would bust immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just making 2. And this makes 2 willow skeins. Now, when I've got this one coming even, so that was very thin, this was very thick. Now I've pulled it, so I'm hoping, and you keep your fingers together down there, so you're holding it together and then you're pulling it apart. And if it gets thick on one side, you very carefully don't pull on the thin side. So this is how you make 2. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with 2, but 3, first of all, makes more out of each willow butt, but also it makes thinner ones. And these are flat on one side, you can see, and round on the other.
Now you still have one smaller than the other, so theoretically you could cut the other one in half, the fat one in half later.
Yes, well, I'm having trouble because this is, don't forget, this is a very fresh, young. I mean, if I was using a year-old thing, it would be piles easier.
Mm-hmm.
But this is how you do 2. And so the cleave, the whole idea of the cleave, instead of making 2, it makes 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you get 3 for the price of 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go on pulling and pulling until you get to the end. And I mean, this is thicker. If you make it into 3, and then you take your knife and you, what's happened here? Take your knife and you take off the corner, as it were, you get a nice flat skein. I have a beautiful, beautiful little white basket that was made for me by a German basket maker. It was all skeined willow.
Now what's happening here?
Well, I've got to the end. It's so thin.
Oh, I see.
I mean, you see, I'm getting peel and I'm not
Yeah.
getting the thing. It's just not mature enough.
Ah.
I mean, I managed to get it down to here, but this has only grown since April.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's very tender.
So it's terribly tender.
I got the thickest ones I could.
Yes, but you know, it's not a good time to be trying to make skein willow.
Right.
And it would be piles easier if you, but I mean, the middle bit centered, but I can't get it.
So when you were doing it for the
For the cleave,
3, did you do it? You did a T.
Mm-hmm.
you make a T. Now the Germans they just fold it flat. My friend Michael showed me how he did it. Now I'm taking off this peel now, see? So I've got a little white willow skein. Ah, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can actually
See?
do it, make it happen. I mean, and you soaked it, you could actually make your baskets, even though it's young. It would just be more susceptible to breaking.
Yes, well, and they aren't mature. I mean, this is very soft, and this is quite thick. But
When you use green to make a basket, it shrinks a lot as it dries, so you end up with a very, very loose
but
basket,
the
which
bit
will
that
almost
shrinks,
fall apart.
The
That's
bit
true.
that shrinks is the outside. I don't think the inside.
Oh, so if you've peeled it, then
Yes.
it's not going to
It's
shrink.
not gonna shrink.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
they used a lot of skeined willow because, for one thing, it makes the basket less heavy. You know,
Oh,
When
I
you say
see.
skeined willow, you mean just divided like we're doing?
yes, they call it we're skeining it.
But when you skein wool,
Yes, it's a different word. I mean, it's the same word. It's just a different.
I love doing this. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
it's just really happy.
You can feel you can go through. You see, the nice part about skeining it this way is that you get a little right angle in the middle, and you can slide it through and make it
Yeah.
flat.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't do that when you have 2. So
So it's a bit pulpy on that one. So
yeah, well, it's just fresh willow. It's just it's poor willow.
Just-
It's only had a few months
baby.
to grow,
Yeah.
but there you are. It's a nice willow. But otherwise, you see,
And then
you
you
don't have any willow to make little light baskets because it's a big fat willow.
Right.
So,
So
this
like
gives
this-
you the opportunity to have thin willow.
Right.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah. Just
And
slide
maybe-
it down so you take the centre
Little bump.
angle off and you pull it through your knee. That's it.
It's coming off better in some places
Yeah.
than others.
And it makes it flat because when you're weaving, it's nice to have a flat.
Mm-hmm.
flat side.
Now, would I want to peel it just so that I get rid of the skin that will shrink a lot?
Well, you could, yes.
And once you've cut it like this, then the peel is going to fall apart. It's going to fall off
Well,
of
I've
it.
stripped it off. This is white, you see.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a white thing. So, I mean, it does two things. It makes it lightweight. So if you want to make a lightweight basket, you've got it's like flat reed.
Yes. Very thin.
Yes, and it's light.
Oh, tell me that again. I'm doing a video of you, just a minute. It does two things.
What's that?
Well, what you just said.
Well, you should
It's
have
light.
we should have you do it.
Here we are. Now, we have just learned how to
Skein.
skein willow.
We have to think about those things that we unwound for our grandmothers
I know,
around
I
the
know,
back of the
skein
chair.
winder. I
Now the
was thinking of a
Germans do it
skein
this
winder.
way, and I don't know if I can do it. No, I don't. This isn't going to crack. The Germans take it and they crack it. Well, maybe they have. And then they stick the cleave in, and they don't use a knife. He thought the knife was terribly dangerous when I showed him how I did it. I don't know if this is going to work. You see, when you crack a more mature willow, you've got more broken bits at the end. And he just stuck. I can't really see actually. I think you're going to have to do it.
Okay.
You stick the end in the cracked end, and it found its natural
Here we are.
point
You video me.
to divide it.
I'm going to be the expert. Ready?
Okay.
Now, if you were in Germany, you would just crack it off.
Just crack
You'd
it.
see all these fibers sticking up here. And you'd
Then you
stick
just
the cleave right in the top
middle.
of all the fire.
And off it goes into three.
And off it goes.
And he thought it was very dangerous to use a knife.
Mm.
And maybe he's right. But I don't know how you're doing.
I'm doing very well, except I have this skin that's in the way. I think I'll just
Yes.
take it
Well,
off.
we are hampered.
And,
I think you could probably use a buff.
you know, I didn't like the German way as much as your way. Because I
Well, he
got
thought-
one
he-
bit that
he thought
kind
it
of
was
went
knife.
the other way.
I think if we wet, I wonder if we could do it with a dry willow.
Here, I've actually got a cleaner cut now because I had a piece that's
And
separated.
I'm not sure if I'm still doing it. Am I still doing it?
If the number's changing. Yes, 57.
Oh, still doing
58.
it. Okay.
Okay. Now, here we are. Can you see my
But
hands?
he thought it was very dangerous to
I'm
use the
just
knife
gonna
to make a tea.
Put the cleave right
And
into
I thought it
the
was very,
center.
I love seeing different people doing it different ways.
Now this is so slippery I almost can't hold on
It's
to
hard
it.
to see it. But again, it isn't,
Yes,
are we in?
I don't have the... I
The
don't-
gripping.
I don't have... Okay, I will now.
It's important to get,
1, 2, 3, allez! Non, ça ne marche pas. Okay.
I think we are
Yeah, I think
being
it's either
hampered by our material at the moment. I don't think it's a question of not working, it's a question
I need a vice grip. If I had a vice grip to hold it, because it's sliding between my elbow and my leg.
slippery.
How
isn't
about
it?
using this? Will this do it without cutting it?
Oh, I wonder.
If you put a piece of paper or something.
Well, he definitely split it. He said you cracked it at the end.
Yeah,
Here,
I have, you
use
see, I
this
have
to
all these
hold on
little
to it.
things. You'd think that I could...
With the napkin
Okay.
in the middle.
We're on to 2 minutes now.
Okay, actually, probably...
Shall I stop it for a minute?
Yeah, you could start it for a minute. This is like a tug of war.
I think if we
See what I mean?
But that did held it.
if we had a wider butt
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you just break it
Mm-hmm.
and then you put the cleave in, it finds its three.
Yeah. That sounds like
And it was interesting, this is how they do it. And I love seeing how different countries.
Yeah, and it's a good idea if you don't have a lot, or sometimes your baskets, the willow is just too fat and it's not going to
Yes.
work properly.
No, and also you don't want a heavy basket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, I've got all my things in my catalog, but I've got a little basket that was used to put a wine bottle in,
Mm-hmm.
like a wine carafe, and that's all skein willow.
Mm.
You don't need a great, huge lumping thing.
Oh,
Right.
we have ice cream and you
Well, ice cream is neat, all right. But I mean, it's just another way of. You could make a willow basket like well, like a grapevine basket we use, and then you could use this. You could weave it with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very